Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So I'm going to bring a Stampin' Up junk journal video for you, and it's to make this. So this, I've used some retired paper, which I thought was perfect for like vintage journals. There's some retired ribbon as well, and this was inspired by Liz, the paper project. I saw it during lockdown 1. And it was one of the reasons why I started like not chucking things away. So this is a little pouch, like a purse or clutch bag, and it's got these pockets for sort of holding ephemera. And I'm sending a swap to someone, and it's a 6-item swap, 6 things that you've made. And so I wanted to make this to put in the 6 things that I've made, so I'm sending this away to someone. It doesn't fit the little album, which I'm not sure of the order that my videos are going to go out in, but I have done a video on making a little mini. So there's one I'm sending her, and then there's one I made for the tutorial, so that's what I'm sending. I did think this might go in there as well, but I mean it does, but I'm trying to keep my postage to large letters, so I'll probably send it separately like that in the package. But yeah, so this is recycled. So this is made from a paper bag, and these are obviously book pages, well, music pages on the inside. So this is a brown paper bag, and what it is it's the bags you get. This is from Boots. Boots used to do their prescriptions in a white bag, and I did save my white bags, and then during lockdown 1 they changed to brown. And I was sheltering and shielding. I keep saying sheltering or shielding. So Ed was getting my meds. And the first one he brought back, my eyes just lit up. I went, oh my God, they're brown. He went, yeah, I knew you'd like that. So I've been collecting them because I'm on regular meds. So I get a bag a month. Sometimes a big one, sometimes slightly smaller. So this is made from the big one. So these are gusseted bags. I know that in different parts of the world you can buy, these are like lunch bags or grocery bags that you can get. I've seen them in the States when I've been there on holiday, but they're not so readily available in the UK. But if you get your prescription from Boots, you get one free with every prescription. So bargain. So you just open it out, push out the sides, and fold it back on itself, and that's your purse-like edge. And what you do is you fold that one up, and that gets stuck together, and so you're going to end up then folding that down like that. You can choose how much you want, and then this gets folded up to not quite meeting, but to be enough to be covered, and that's how we get our shape like so. So that's the bag ready to be covered. And for the pages, I've got these lovely vintage music paper. That's what I used for the pages, and they're they're quite big, but they're like a lot of vintage paper. They're quite thin and fragile. So I got them out of, I've got a large book with these in, and so I took them out of the spine with the double pages. Actually, I prefer that colour on that side, so turn it this way. And so what I did was I glued 2 sheets together. So these ones have already been done, and I get 3 pages out of each, so I'll get 3 more out of this one. So I'm just going to show you how I did this so that it can be drying whilst we're decorating. So I'm just going around the edges with my glue stick. Oops, see, that's how fragile the paper is. I'm going to stick that on there. So you can see where bits have already ripped, and that's why I want to stick 2 together. The glue adds a bit of strength to the paper as well. You could, of course, use any paper you wanted. You could use scrapbook paper, you could use digitals, you could use thicker copier paper. I would definitely use thicker paper for this. You know, if you're going to use it for holding ephemera and bits, then you want it to stand up against time. I am using collal glue because this does, I find, add a bit of extra strength, more so than other glues that I've tried. So it kind of like ups the GSM or poundage of your paper, I find. So that's why I like to use this for jobs like this. So I'm just covering the whole lot. It does ooze a bit, so it will go to the edges. Right, that's just come off. So I'm going to stick that on that side there where it would go. There we go. Now you can spread the glue a bit. This is just a hairdresser's silicone brush. Spread it about. And then, because we've done it on the fold, we know that if we just fold it over, it's going to be in the right place. And you can take a bone folder and squidge that glue, and that's how we know it goes to the edges. I did sew my pockets. You don't have to. Liz from the paper project, I think she just glued hers. I can't actually remember. I watched the video about well, more than a year ago now, I think, and I've seen several other people make versions of this. So that's a little bit still pliable, but it's difficult to tell on a video. But when it dries, it is it's a bit stronger than that. So I'm going to leave that to dry. It will be ready to use by the time we get to it. So the paper does have printing on it, which don't mind so much, but I did to cover it in some brown paper packaging tape, which did 2 things: covered it up and gave it a bit of strength. So you can still see a little bit of the colour through there, but I don't mind because junk journaling is about upcycling. So I didn't really mind that so much. So I'm going to get rid of my grid mat for the moment. So I just took this. I've got thinner packaging tape, but I think it's downstairs because I actually use this for packaging. But I bought this thicker one for this purpose. So it covers it a bit, but you can still see it. But I do go over it with some ink as well. I'm going to glue that together. So you've got a nice, thick, robust sort of flap on your little clutch bag. And if you're like me, I do a lot of making of bits of ephemera, and it's quite nice. I have a few different sizes of these type of things that I've made, and I kind of theme them. So some have like stamps in, some have tickets. These are obviously going to be bigger things that I can put sort of tags in, or library cards, different things like that. So then I went round these edges as well. So to ink, I'm going to use soft suede. It is one of my inks of preference. It is a little bit darker, which is, so quite like crumb cake for inking, but I wanted something darker because I wanted to make sure that this colour was sort of covered up. So that's it all inked up, ready for the paper. So I say you could use whatever paper you've got to cover this. I am using scrapbook paper, so I'm using these Pressed Petals Speciality Sans Serif paper from Stampin' Up. It is retired. This paper is thinner than what their normal DSP is, so you got twice as many sheets in the pack because it was thinner, and I think it's ideal for this project. I used 2 sheets of 12 by 12, and I had these few little scraps from those 2 sheets left over, so I thought that was good usage. So I used the reverse of this and this lovely sheet here. So I think I'm going to do this one differently. So in this pack there were 4 sheets of each of the designs, and the reverse was just lovely, which I just thought perfect for vintage journals. I've used that sheet before, and the back of that's Hessian. You've got these pages here, which I thought would make good journaling cards. So that was the sheet I looked. And then there's that one, which I quite like. So I think I might use that one. I've pulled two out. The reverse of that is that. So I could use the reverse of that with this. I quite like that colour. So I might do that, use 2 sheets of that. I was thinking I'd use this again. So I like things to look a bit matchy-matchy. So in the Stampin' Up colours, that is, it's probably Rococo Rose, actually, that. Looking at the colour there. So it's Crumb Cake, Daffodil Delight, Merry Merlot. Oh, it might be Merry Merlot. Yes, the darker one is Merry Merlot. Love that. Night of Navy, Pear Pizzazz, Rococo Rose, Soft Suede, and Very Vanilla. So I have already used the soft suede, but yes, that dark colour is probably why I like it so much. So I made these panels, so it depends on what size of bag you're using, and it depends on how you fold it. As to what size of a panel you needed. But I wanted it so that they were 4 inches tall so that I could get 3 panels out of it. And they were 10 1/4 long. I'm sure that's what I did it. Yeah, so it's like 10 1/2 long. So I made it 10 1/4. And it is just shy of 4 1/2. So 4 inches was absolutely fine for this. So I used the floral on the outside. I got 3 panels, one for the front, one for the underside, and one for the back, and then I cut that one into 3 panels and covered the inside. And the reason why I covered the inside was because my pockets didn't quite go to the end. You could, if you use different type of paper, if I used it so that the music went the other way round, I could have gone all the way to the end. But I quite liked the look of that so that you could see on the edges. And as I just decorated it a little bit. So that is what we're going to do. So I'm going to cut these down to 10 1/4. Okay. This one's directional. That one's pretty directional, actually, to be fair. So we want it to go that way. I'm going to cut the 2 together, save a bit of time. So 10 1/4. And then we want some 4 inches. So, and then our flap is not as wide as 4 inches. So we're going to cut that flap. It's about 3 1/2, so we can go to 3 1/4. Placed it on there where it was going to go. I then folded it back. So there. Folded that side back. And then it can just get folded down on the other side. And that is how I matched them up. So then I just put a tad of glue. I didn't bother cutting it off. I just glued it down. And that worked for me. And then we do exactly the same Right, and before I glue it all down, I am, of course, going to ink round all of the edges. So then the next bit is to stamp on these, and I'm using the spotted stuff from Quiet Meadow to sort of give it a bit of an aged look. I thought these flowers were quite similar to the flowers in there, so I've mounted those. I've got my favourite bit of script, got to put a bit of script on it, and then I'm doing the postmarks from these two of my favourite stamps, which is why they're never going anywhere. They're staying in my collection. They're retired. You can still buy these. And I'm going to use crumb cake and soft suede. So I'm just going to do these two with you, and then I'll do the others sort of off camera. Okay, so let's do a bit of aged spots first. So I'm going to do that with crumb cake. So just stamping around, making it look a bit older. And it's got a lovely vintage feel to it anyway, this paper. But we're just adding a bit more. I never bought this paper when it was in the catalogue. I bought it when it was on clearance. It was about £4, something like that. Because I always had in mind I was going to use it for journaling. But at the time, I wasn't really journaling. I wasn't really making journals when it was first. I just had the idea. And then lockdown came, and that was what I was doing. So now I want to do... Let's do these postmarks. So get it the right way up. Can never tell to stamp it. I think this needs re-inking. New York, that way up. Yeah, this needs re-inking. That's better. It's the other way up, isn't it? Yep. That's better. If I stamp it where there's lighter flowers, we can see it a bit better. Do love a bit of postmark. There we go. And then I'm going to use soft suede to do the franking. When I was a kid, I loved my post office set. Anybody else have a post office set? And I just love stamping. Just loved it. Right, so done them. So let's do a bit of script. I actually just want partial script. So just gonna stamp at different places rather than the full bit. That'll do. Where's that flower? Quite liking that. There we go. So that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do it on the other sheets as well. So that's them all done. So now I can stick them to this. But before I do that, I'm going to stick some ribbon. So this is another retired ribbon. This is embroidered ribbon. This was another one I got on clearance. And when I saw it, I thought ideal for junk journals. When I made this one, I didn't think about it. But I remembered before I stuck this bit down, so I stuck it under that, but I want to stick it under the back as well, I think, although I do quite like the look of the ribbon on the back, to be fair. I think it gives it a nice sort of decorative look, but I am gonna do this one. I'm gonna stick this one to the back because so you can see the difference. So there is other ways of doing it. You could do a little, so it looks like a document wallet. So you could have it under a disc, wind it round and wind it round. Can't speak. So that's going to go around like that. And is that about how much I did? Yeah, about that much. I've done it quite long so that it can expand. If you've got things in it, it will expand. So you need plenty of ribbon for doing that. So let's just clear the decks a sec so we can see what we're doing. So I'm going to go down the centre there with a bit of double-sided tape to hold it in place. It's then going to get glued on, so it's not. I do like to have plenty of tape. Just sort of eyeballing the middle. I could actually measure. So that's about the middle. About 5.5 is. Well, 5.5 would be 11. It's not quite 11, is it? What are we in centimetres? 27, which is 13.5. So that bit there is more the middle. Well, that's going down that way. Kind of know where to put our sticky tape on this side. There we go. That's now ready. So we're going to glue this the right way up on the back there. And what you've got to remember, so those are standing up, up. This one needs to be up, like so. That one needs to be that way up. And then on the inside, basically that one's upside down because it will fold up. And that one's that way up. So it is one continuous sheet, but if you put that one in there, it would be upside down. So just turn it that way. So I'm going to get all the rest of them stuck down. So that's it all finished, all glued down, all ready to add the inside. And you could sew round it, and I think I might sew round this, but I'm going to do all the sewing at the same time. So we've got a nice big pocket there, and now that that's covered in the paper, it's quite a nice sturdy pocket there. And so now we need to add the other pockets, so that's where my music paper comes back. So this is all nicely dry now, so I'm keeping it this width. I say lots of music paper comes in quite wide sheets, so it is 9 1/4, so it is a little bit more than an inch shorter, so it's just going to have just over ½ an inch on each side, but I'm quite happy with that. And I'm cutting them to be 4 inches deep. I think that's what I did. So I did 4 inches deep, so that it was kind of the same width as the DSP. So that was kind of where I'm attaching it to, down the middle of the paper. So cutting at 4 inches. I'm going to use my guillotine for this, because sometimes when it's vintage paper, I do find that my trimmer pulls it rather than cuts it. So I'm going to just slice off that smidge at the top, so we've got a nice straight edge there, and then line that up there at 4. So we should get 3 out of the sheets. I'm making 5 pockets. We want them all to be up the right way, so that's the right way, that's the right way, so that's 1. So that's my 5 sheets, and what I'm going to do is glue them on 3 sides. I'm going to use my Tombow for this, because it's a fast drying, and you know, good stick. So that's them all stuck. So I am now going to take them all to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew around the edges. You absolutely do not have to do that. That is stuck, so it will be absolutely fine without sewing. But I just like to sew, and I think I'm going to sew around this. Although I've done that, I can sew around that. So I'm going to go around all the edges of this. The only one I'm not going to sew is that edge, because that would close it. So that edge is not going to be sewn, but I'm going to go all the way around there, and I might go around the insides as well. Okay. Right, so that is all my sewing done. So I just did straight stitch all the way around all the pockets, and then I did a zigzag stitch all the way around the outside, and then went back up these. Unfortunately, on just this bit, it didn't catch the edge of the DSP. Now, I don't think it matters too much, but rather than go back over and have 2 lines of stitching there, I'm going to use my Stitchery stamp set. I'm going to use the zigzag there, and I'm just going to stamp it, because you are going to see that bit when you open it up. So I just thought I'll just stamp on the edge. And it'll be fine. That works for me. Quite happy with that. So now we're all sorted. Actually, brainwave, I'm going to stamp along these edges. I couldn't actually stitch. So it looks like I have stitched. Oh, do you know, cooking on gas. I've not joined up there. There. And then I'm going to stamp on this side as well. I might be a little bit more careful of where I'm stamping. Just so it all looks like there. Love it. Brilliant. Right. So that's that. So the only thing left now is to sew these. Not sew these, stick these in. So they are going to, I'm just going to sort of eyeball the first one to be about right. So I'm going to put glue up the centre there. I'm going to use Tombow because it is nice strong glue, and I want to make sure that I'm in the middle. So what I did was take that, which is the width, and then I know where the middle is there. So I'm going to do a line down the middle, and I'm just going to do quite a thick piece, like so, and eyeball it there and stick it down. So I'm sort of, it's the same height as the DSP. Yep, and that's nice. And then I do it again. So by only sticking in the middle, not going all the way to the bottom either, you get that sort of concertina effect of it sort of opening out nicely, using a good strong glue to make sure it holds up. There we go. There we go, and then that one is going to be stuck there. Get my bone folder, give everything a good crease. And there we have all our pockets there. And I say you could easily put a label on these sides here so you could see what was in them. And then I just, for the final touch, I put some decoration there on the inside and on the inside, and I just used this DSP and a few little other things to do that, which I'm going to do now. So I used the leftover strips and made some stamps. So I made stamps using my postage stamp punch, excuse me, which is there, and I've got this was a special host stamp set, and I like that because it, as you can see, it's one I've used the most. I like it because it gives you a nice outline. So I looked at bits on the paper that would make nice stamps. I'm going to use some of the other scraps as well, actually. So use some of them, make nice stamps, and that one with the writing on makes a nice stamp as well. And the colours all blend, so they'll be well nice. So I like to do the outsides of my stamps in Early Espresso. I think you've seen me make stamps with this before. So get the writing up the right way. I think that's a nice stamp there with that on it. So I'm going to get those cut out. And I might make some little doilies actually with my encircled with beauty dies. I think these would make some nice little doilies. So I might cut a couple of those out. Don't quite get all of that, but near enough. So I'm going to die cut those as well. The stamps punched out first. I like to emboss them as well, and I've got this type, it's called Type Worn embossing folder, so I will lay them on there and emboss them. And so whilst I'm at my machine, I'm gonna I'll die cut these as well. So that's them cut out. I cut out a few so that I've got them, got different varieties, and then that's those postage stamps. So I'll bring that up to the camera. Don't know if you can make that out, but they've got a nice feel to them, and you can give them a little bit of extra blending. Oh, I went a bit too hard on that one. Let's have a little bit of dottage. On there, and I think that'll do. Or a bit of script, like a bit of script. There we go. And I'm going to go around the edges as well and do that in soft suede. These are really cute little doilies. That's why I liked that set. When I saw it, I thought, doilies. Make my own doilies, different sizes. And I love these little mini ones. Perfect for little clusters. Adding a little something. Need to poke them out a bit more. And I just love these faux stamps. is great. You could just get a whole sheet and stamp all over. Or if you haven't got the stamp to go with it, just punch them. And that works a treat as well. So they're ready. A little look-see. So oh, I'm loving that. That's a very nice cluster. That's a nice one there. I did add a little leaf and a bigger doily and some music paper behind these. I think that did something completely different there. So a little bit of music paper. Bit of rip. That way. Works well. Got some leaves here that I cut out for another project. Got the Merry Merlot, which is the same colour. That would work quite nicely as a cluster. It's not ripped at the top. I could actually use one of these behind. It's going to have that on the bottom. And I might do a green leaf underneath there. I've got a green one. Quite like that. And then on the front, that's the wrong colour. Wondering if I should die cut some nice big leaf like that for the front there. In green. Yeah, I'm going to cut another one of them out. So that's my die cutting done, and then I inked around the bits of music paper, and I think that makes quite a nice little decoration there. So these just need sticking together and sticking on, and then we are done. So there we are all finished. Oh, managing to stick myself to my grid paper. Managed to rip that a bit, but that just adds to the vintageness of the project. And then we've got these on the inside. And then you just tie a bow. It's not quite dry. And just stick a bit more glue on there. So that's that one, and that's this one. And I think they're just gorgeous, great for a bit of happy mail. So I am sending this one out. So we've got them on the back there. So that one with the ribbon going over and that one without the ribbon. So yeah, hope you like that. I hope you found it useful. And you know, it's great to be inspired by other people and then maybe changing it a little bit yourself. And I have got these other sizes to do. And yeah, I think it's a great way of reusing a bit of rubbish, basically. So all the details will be over on nigezza.co.uk. I'll link down below to everything that I've used that you can buy. Obviously, some things are retired. Yeah, and you can just substitute for what you've got. So thanks for joining me. Be back again with another junk journal video next Wednesday and Stampin' Up on Friday and Sunday. Okay, bye for now.